Hello there, I'm Tim and he's John, and this is How to Murder Time, a podcast about games and things.
Mostly things. How are you?
I'm in one of those moods, actually. I had a bit of a moment on the way. I don't know if it was the act of coming here that just sort of all brought it crashing down on me, but I was quite chipper. I had a few games I was going to talk about, but then I just sort of started thinking about, the eternal verities of it all and what does it all mean anyway? And I don't know, I'm just feeling a bit... one of those moods. So, I think we've written a list of things that aren't games.
I've got there's a couple of games on that list.
Okay, fair enough. But yes, I don't know. Same old, isn't it?
Yeah,
week in, week out. Do write in comments if you're fed up with watching this show and don't want to comment on it anymore. That would be good to know.
Well, if you want to buy the brand.
Wanted 2 new podcast hosts. Yes. Show needs to regenerate, really, doesn't it?
It really does, I think.
Anyway, go on then. To fill an hour.
I've been playing Rogue Trooper.
Rogue Trooper,
or more accurately, Rogue Trooper Redux.
That's not a Warhammer thing, is it?
No. Well, you say it's
Rogue
not
Trader, I'm thinking of.
You say it's not a Warhammer thing, but it's about genetically engineered super soldiers in the future who, when they die, bits of them need to be cut out and saved so they can make them again.
It's a common theme. Also,
they drop down from the sky in drop pods and.
Okay.
In fact, when 40k was being designed, Games Workshop may well have had the license for all of those things, different model range, and a lot of them got pulled over into 40k.
Okay.
Basically, what Rogue Trooper is a game that came out in 2006, which got re-released.
I think I vaguely remember you talking about it, yeah.
They got
we've been doing this a long time.
It predates the podcast.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Do you remember before the podcast?
Vaguely.
I don't.
Do you remember playing games for fun?
I'm having a bit of a breakdown at the moment. What?
Do you remember playing games for fun? Not about how you can analyse them.
Well, I still play games for fun, but there's always a part of the back of my mind taking notes, you know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Always got to remember to record the bit of video.
Well, that's a new thing, yeah.
Anyway, you are a clone super soldier who, when you die, you have 60 seconds to cut out the chip from the back of your head, and then that gets put into a bit of gear, which keeps it running, and so that keeps the personality alive, and then taken back to base, and then gets put into a new clone body.
That sounds like quite a contrived explanation for the extra lives mechanic we're familiar with in many games.
The game doesn't cover that at all, because the story doesn't cover that. The story of Rogue Trooper in the comics and in the game starts with a massive battle where the clone troopers drop down into a battle and they're all wiped out.
Right.
Because it was basically...
Sounds quite cheery.
It's very cheery. There was a traitor who betrayed them. It's basically the Nords and the South fighting each other in this massive war, and details that matter.
Is it on Earth or some
it's on a different planet.
Okay.
Although it's implied it's throughout the galaxy.
Okay.
So what happens is there's a massive slaughter of all of these troops, and then one of them survives. His name is Rogue. Then he goes rogue.
Damn you, nominative determinism.
Yeah. And along the way, he meets up with a guy called Gunner.
Okay.
Who gets killed. So his chip goes in his gun.
Right.
Then he meets up with a guy called Bagman.
What?
Guy called Bagman.
Bagman?
He gets killed.
Yeah.
And so then...
So he's not going around collecting a ragtag motley band of chips?
Yeah, and then that goes in the bag. And
all of his equipment are dead soldiers.
Yeah, and they're all talking.
Okay.
And then he meets a guy called Helm.
Helm? What happens to him?
He dies.
Where does he go when he dies?
In the hat.
Yeah. Now you come to explain this to someone else.
No, it's always...
No, okay.
It was basically invented in the late 70s, and I don't think that maybe as much effort was put into some of the aspects of the story as maybe would be put in nowadays, like coming up with names which aren't very late 70s comics.
It does all sound a bit placeholdery. Yeah. It's like once we get the writer in, they can change all this. Yeah.
And Rogue Trooper Redux is a re-release of the 2006 game, which is a first-person shooter of this thing.
Okay.
Where you start off dropping down into the battle, everyone gets slaughtered, you meet a gunner, then you meet Bagman, then you meet Helm.
Right.
It just got to go well for them.
Hi guys, welcome to the squad. Oh,
and each time you get one of them, put them in your equipment gets more useful.
More argumentative by the sounds of it.
Yeah, to start with, it gets a bit more sarky.
Okay.
And it doesn't help the gunner sounds awfully like Claptrap.
Right. Yes, that could be a problem.
And so, first of all, you get the gun upgraded, which gives it several abilities like better targeting, and also you can put it down and turn it into a gun turret, and it'll automatically shoot stuff while you're doing other stuff. Then you get the bag upgraded, and this gives you the ability to turn scrap into ammo and things, and health packs. And then you get their helmet upgraded, and that gives you the ability to hack doors and various things. So actually, they use it in a really nice and neat and thematically sound way of unlocking your abilities as the first couple of levels go on.
Okay, yep.
Which I thought was a really nice touch. Now, this is a game originally from 2006, and it plays like a 2006 shooter.
Yeah.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing if you remember shooters from back then.
Those were the good old days, probably.
I would imagine if you played modern shooters, and hadn't played them from before, this game is going to suck.
No autosave.
There's checkpoints.
The checkpoints.
There are checkpoints. They're quite far apart.
Complicated maps that you need to actually look at a map to use.
No, not really.
Not the L-shaped corridors.
No, again, it's not. They don't quite feel as corridory as they do now.
Okay.
But there is stuff like the shooting is a little bit.
Is there a blue key card, a red key card, and a yellow key card? There often was.
Not yet. But and the graphics look a bit upper resed 2006 with higher.
Well, you learn to put up with that if you're at all interested in games from the past.
Well, that's the thing. It has. My enthusiasm for playing more modern games is waning quite rapidly, and my enthusiasm for playing older games, I just find them far more interesting nowadays.
That's because you're getting old.
Yeah.
It's the things that are invented in the first third of your life, the whole Douglas Adams thing, isn't it? As you get old, the things that you grew up with retain their interest, whereas the new things seem suspicious and
what I'm
new
basically
and
saying is
confusing.
I'm completely fed up with modern shooters and I don't care anymore.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Because they've all just been reduced down to the same. What I like about this is it's it's a very familiar plot, and happens to be the plot that a lot of the Halo is based on it, and 40k is based on it, and everything else comes from it.
Well, it's an easy trap to fall into, playing games from that era and thinking, this is just like all the other shooters. No, this is what all the other shooters were based on. This is what came first, these kinds of things. This was new and fresh back then.
I'm talking more the plot. But,
well, yeah.
Because this was always a also-ran shooter. It reminds me a lot of that Tower one.
Fire Warrior.
Fire Warrior, yes, I should.
Warhammer 40k Fire Warrior. I enjoyed that. That was good.
A lot of people hate it.
It's a good one.
I don't know why they
Surprising
hate it.
amount of voice talent in it as well.
Yeah, remarkably so. It's got poetry and everything.
Tom Baker and Brian Blessed both in the same game.
Nowadays that's not allowed because that's a dangerous level.
Critical
of
mass.
Yeah. And just playing it, it feels like the plot actually happens, and it just feels a lot more like it's something that was written and designed as a thing, rather than this is going to be this set piece level, this is this set piece level, and I'm finding it really refreshing. Of course, the reason why I started playing it was it got released late last year, and everyone thought, why are they doing that? This is a sort of a not very important game that no one really remembered or all forgotten about. And then, of course, there was the announcement that there's a film coming.
Okay.
So Duncan Jones, him who made Moon, is making
World of Warcraft, the film.
Again, people don't like that. I don't know why.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard lots of contradictory opinions about it, so I've no idea what to think.
Yeah, you should probably watch it.
I'm not that into Warcraft. Apparently, I think the big problem is that everyone hated it because it was nothing to do with World of Warcraft.
I know, that's why I loved it.
It was actually, I think it was a retelling of the original first Warcraft RTS game. So all sorts of hero names I didn't know or heard.
And this is going to annoy people.
Yeah.
Have you looked at the plot in World of Warcraft?
The plot in World of Warcraft's got a new expansion announced or soon or something, or out now or something, and apparently it's all completely retrofitted all the things. I don't know.
I don't care.
Talking about games, whatever. But yes, the plot in World of Warcraft is crazy because there's about 15 expansions and each of them sort of reset the things that went before, apparently. So it's best not to just really pay any attention to the story in that game at all.
No, it's best just to concentrate on the number keys.
Yeah, watch the little clocks along the bottom.
Yeah. That should deal with half of them. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the film. It's years away, of course, because films take forever to make. And it's going to piss everyone off, of course, because it's not going to be the interpretation that everyone wants. Because these things never are.
Have we got enough superhero films now?
It's not really a superhero film.
Isn't it? Okay, that's good.
And hopefully it's going to be a...
I think we've got enough superhero films now.
You sure?
Yeah, it'd last us at least next 25 years, I think.
No, that's just Marvel's announced schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to the film, and so I thought I'd play the game because of it, and the game's quite enjoyable, and I spent far more time playing that game than I have most modern games.
So what specifically about modern games is it that you're just not interested in? What's the most modern shooter out that everyone thinks is excellent? I don't know. I'm really out of touch as well.
See, they're not all bad.
This is turning into a whole grumpy old men podcast.
This is definitely
basically.
a grumpy old men podcast.
There was like some Ghost Recon Rainbow Wildlands
there's
thing.
COD still, there's Battlefields. And,
but that's the thing. We think of franchises. We don't think of individual titles
No.
anymore. It's what's the latest COD? What's the latest Black Ops thing? I don't know. I don't even know the names now.
I don't know.
But yeah. It's.
I should know the name of the last
Crank
COD
the handle. Next one comes out. Do they renovate? Is it Titanfall 2? Is
Titanfall 2 was the last decent
I don't know.
one. But even then I got
Destiny
so far and
2?
stopped playing. Destiny 2, I've got it, but I can't be asked to play it.
And so, if I just maybe I should do that as an experiment. I should just march into whatever it passes for a computer game shop these days and buy the number one thing and play it and rejuvenate me. PES Evolution Soccer Manager thing, whatever.
FIFA's been
I don't know. Yeah. And what's the number one game on Steam? That's League of Legends still, is it?
Oh, I could.
Or was that the Super Data
it might be PUBG.
thing, PUBG? I don't know. I'm just feeling really detached from everything at the moment.
That's the thing, is that you look at all the announcements for games and it's all, we're adding a Battle Royale mode, and I'm thinking, I don't want to play a Battle Royale mode. I'm now discounting your game.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that with so many games recently. I've discounted nearly all.
Oh, that PUBG thing was popular. Oh, Fortnite. It's just okay, yeah. And it's nothing to do with games, is it? It's me, and this is what worries me. It's my birthday this week, by the way. No, sorry, no need for presents or cards or anything. It's fine. But it's sort of reminding me of mortality, reminding me I'm getting older. And what I always worried, or well, perhaps didn't worry enough that was going to happen, I think is starting to happen. I'm starting to think that I'm going to grow out of computer games one day, and perhaps not so far away.
What
happens then? Because my whole life up to this point, from the age of about 11, has been basically immersed in computer games. That's been the be-all and end-all, and I'm beginning to think perhaps I should have worked harder at the other things adult human beings do when they get to this sort of age. But then at some point soon, I'm going to think, I can't be bothered with computer games. Very much like the mood I'm in at the moment, which is not great for a games podcast. But then, I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's genuinely the games at the moment aren't that great. I don't know. I don't trust my own opinion on gaming at the moment. Don't trust myself to be a useful critic or an impartial and objective and informed viewpoint on my gaming. And if I've not got that, what do I have left? I tell you what I have left. I have other things. I'm going to talk about Couch to 5K.
Oh, God.
Yes, I did that again. So this was off the back of... Right,
you have to do it again because you have to run back.
I'll talk about the reason I'm doing this.
Oh, come on, that was a good joke.
You do it in a big circuit anyway. I mean, I've got a 5K route that goes around the estate in which I live, and that's all very nice. I was meant to do it today, but it was a bit rainy. But I've been out and about in it in 2 or 3 times a week for the last 9 weeks. 3 times a week for the last 9 weeks. And it's the NHS website. I've got it, or you can find apps. There's all sorts of places you can find this thing. And basically, for those who don't know, the basic plan is that you'll run a little bit more each time over a period of 9 weeks, and eventually, by the end of it all, you're capable of running for 30 minutes without stopping, and without dying as well. And that typically, for most people's average running speed for 30 minutes, is about 5 kilometres, which is where the whole thing comes from. You start as a couch potato and end up being able to run 5K. It works, it's very carefully calibrated and carefully, well, works for me anyway. I mean, I'm not particularly fit, not particularly active or sports enthusiastic, but following it week by week. They push you just enough each time. You just about can do it. You just about can follow the instructions and run for when they say to run and walk for the bit they say to walk and so on. And eventually, 9 weeks later, you can run for 30k. And I've done this before. I talked about it on a previous show, like, I don't know, last year sometime or the year before. But your body does forget. You do. Yeah. It does all go to seed again if you don't keep it up. So now the trick's just to keep going with it.
That's why you should never wipe out all the wolves.
You always need some kind of motivation, yeah. So, yeah, I'm very pleased with that. I managed to get all back onto it. And it was easier this time, knowing that it was possible, because I'd already done it once before. So that was something. I mean, it was a bit scary the first time around, a couple of years ago, because you don't really know. What, really? Run for like 20 minutes this time? Are you sure? But if you don't trust yourself and instead trust the podcast or, the actual people who put the programme together, then you'd be surprised what you can do. So that's all quite good. I mean, yeah, I was out running last week with the heat wave and stuff. I think it was 32 degrees when I was doing the last run, and I was all right actually, so that was quite good. Yeah, I don't know, not especially humble bragging at the moment here, so which is good. But fitness, that's something I'm sort of thinking about, and I've been doing a lot more outdoorsy hikings and stuff lately, and that's time I would have spent gaming. I don't know, it's like, I don't know if I'm it's not that I've sort of opened my eyes in a sort of Scrooge-like revelation one morning and thought, oh, I've wasted my life gaming, I should be doing all this other proper adult stuff that grown-ups do, instead. It's not that at all, but it's nice to have more facets to life, I suppose, and that's something I've been experimenting with over the last 5 years or so. I don't know. But I worry, where's that going to end up? Am I going to just get fed up with games eventually, entirely? Or is it just certain games? I don't know. Or am I going round and round old games? That's always I seem to be finding doing. So, yeah. This week, since the last show, because I got that 4 terabyte hard disk when my other one broke and died, I thought, let's fill it with all the MMO clients ever, all at once, in a bid to find one that would capture my interest. So let's see. Do you want a quick rundown of some of the games I've tried over the last week? PlanetSide 2. Still going, yep.
PlanetSide 2 got sold to a company that was owned by the Russian government.
Well,
and used it to harvest information to help swing the election.
Quite possibly. I mean, Daybreak Games was spun off from Sony Online Entertainment and bought by Columbus Nova, a sinister hedge fund investment corporation, which turned out to have some kind of sinister links to Russian mafia or something. When you have to deny
your first press release saying who you were bought by.
I saw those. That was brilliant. Yeah, no need to worry, everyone. Okay. But yes, I don't know anything about that really, but I popped in and had a good old quick go on my Vanu. I had battle rank 53 something or other, had a run around, shot some people, got killed a few times, mostly cloaking and a bit of engineering and stuff, same as ever. I think the big innovation there at the moment is they're doing something called the Advanced Specialization Program. So when you get to battle rank 100, you haven't finished, you don't get to go away and live your life. You instead can effectively do what looks to be some kind of new game plus. They reset you back down to battle rank 0 and give you a specialisation point, which you can spend by unlocking a number of different abilities. And these are sort of things that in little tiny minor enhancements which really don't warrant putting the time in to get to battle rank 100. But they're things like light assaults. If you're a light assault, you're allowed to use SMGs, and that'll be your point unlock. Or you're for cloaker, you can use the grenades from another class, or there's an advanced heavy shield for heavy assault people. Very, very minor cross-pollination things like one class, because each class in there has only had a certain set of weapons, certain classes of weapons. Well, if you've got one of these battle specialisation points from getting around, completing battle rank 100 and respecking again, you can unlock the ability for that class to have also access to one of the weapons from a different class. They all seem very, very minor, sort of just little perks, really, rather than now I have ticked this box, I will just shoot lasers from my eyes and kill everyone I look at type thing. So population wise, I think they had 1, maybe 2 continents on the go. It seems relatively stable. There were fights, I'm not sure there were vast numbers, but it's hard to tell given the metrics that you have for that game. It's you can still find the kind of gameplay that was there a couple of years ago. I don't know how old it is now. It's been going a while. So that was still going. I had a quick run around there, and I didn't totally suck. I got killed a lot, and I know that if I put the effort in, 3 weeks or so, I'll probably get to almost a break-even kill-death ratio, perhaps. But
who's got that kind of time?
Who's got that kind of time? Well, yeah, it's the effort of it all. Let's see, what else did I download and install? DDO. Dungeons and Dragons Online. Well, I'm playing Lord of the Rings Online at the moment, and I think Multi was chatting. We were chatting about Turbine's other games. I think he still dips into DDO now and then. So I thought I'll download that and have a look. Utterly baffling completely incomprehensible. I fired up one of my like level 5 or 6 wizard or something, running around Stormreach Marketplace, and I barely understood what any of the icons on the map actually meant, let alone what my hotbar did. Yeah, I know. I get the basics of it. I couldn't work out where I'd got to or what I was doing. I could probably just repeat some of the dungeons, but it just seems really hard to reconnect with it. It was always a very theory crafty, statty heavy sort of game, and it was this weird sort of interpretation of Dungeons and Dragons, which they sort of tacked on instead. You'd think Dungeons and Dragons, the computer game, would become something a lot more along the lines of Baldur's Gate or Neverwinter Nights or that sort of thing, but instead they sort of tried to make this weird first-person shooter action game with real fast cooldown mechanics and stuff like that. And it's more actiony than most normal MMOs, and I just found myself baffled by the whole thing. I bounced right off that. Really. Yeah. I don't think I didn't even do any actual gameplay. I was just running around what effectively are the lobby areas and just not really understanding or working out where I should be or what I was going to do next.
Very much like the time I went back to Ultima.
I just thought I was just almost utterly paralysed by the whole experience, and I just thought, no, there's other games I'd rather be playing, and I just logged off. I've tried twice and had the same almost it's almost like a mental allergic reaction to the whole thing. And I've got a level 20 character in there. I don't know what the cap is now, but 20 is a big deal in there because each of their levels is equivalent to 5 normal MMO levels. So
why not just have?
I don't know. I was scared of using that. You know, you get this thing where you've been away from an MMO for like about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. You jump back in and there's your super high level character and you think, oh God, I'm not touching that because I'm going to screw it all up. I've had a number of forced respecs. I have no idea what any of the things mean now. I used to know.
And they've changed anyway.
And I'm probably just going to get wiped, killed, and whatever death penalties apply will apply heavily to me because I have no idea what I'm doing all of a sudden. So it's going to take a lot. So you think, okay, well, I'll find a lower alt to just get back into it with, try and relearn the basics of the game, and I couldn't even do that. Indeed, yeah, that's just had such a problem with it. God, I don't know. I mean, and again, you know, I knew how to play in the past. I mean, I could probably learn how to play again, but who's got that kind of time? Yeah. So bounced off of that. What else did we try? Neverwinter.
Oh, yeah.
Cryptic, Perfect World Entertainment's Neverwinter, which is another sort of variation on the DDO theme. It's a much more actiony thing. It's based on you as a solo player, sort of just running around instances, zapping stuff with your cool abilities and stuff. I got on better with that. That's a lot more kinetic, a lot more, but it's got that sort of Cryptic, Perfect World cash shoppery all over the bloody place, and the whole thing runs off token grinds, off reputation bars, off daily things. It's a real calculated exercise in manipulative psychology, to be honest. You know, perhaps one of the worst that you'll see in online gaming, and online gaming as a whole is rife with this stuff. And you're just thinking, right, okay, now I need to go here and do that thing, and look, time limited thing, go to do that event, collect these tokens, and then come back next day to do this thing. And I was thinking, I don't want to be logging in every single day for a game.
Got better things to do.
I've got better things to do, yeah. Well, no, I've got lots of different games I need to be logging into each day, but I just don't want to be connected and beholden and enthralled to a system of progress which requires my continual repeated participation.
That is one of the things that's driving me away from gaming. It's the move towards everything being this, what they call games as services, which is just rubbish.
It's more it's the Skinner box, isn't it? Yeah. It's the rat pressing the pellet pressing the bar to get the food pellet.
And if you don't get it, this is going to go away.
We've all known that's how the bloody things worked all along, right from way back to EverQuest and Ultra Online. It was always about prod response. You know, it's that dopamine thing. It's about monetizing addiction, I suppose. You know, in many ways. But that's that was the nature of the game, and we're aware of it, and we know. But it just gets more and more. I don't know. I don't want some computer game telling me what I've got to do every day.
That's what I've been enjoying.
It doesn't get to set tasks for me. I am more important than them. You know?
That's why I'm enjoying Rogue Trooper. I just
you fire it up, you play a bit, you go away.
I got a bit annoyed that they put achievements in it.
It doesn't care if you don't come back tomorrow. You come back whenever you like.
Yeah,
that's the sort of thing. I just don't think any MMO development company gets to dictate my weekly or daily schedule. You know, that whole you've got to log in every day for your login reward, and if you'll miss out if you don't get it. Well, I don't care. And I think that's probably an important step, being able to just step away from that, because I've gone for that. I mean, regular viewers and listeners will humorously recall my Star Trek Star Trek Online spaceship obsessions when they do their events. You've got to log in every day to get your special tick. If you don't have all your ticks, you'll not get the special thing. What thing? It's a digital amount of guff that exists on a server that's just going to be turned off when the post-apocalyptic times arrive.
Yep. When
the sun swells up and engulfs the Earth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, focus, keep it light. So Neverwinter. I don't know. I found Neverwinter was a bit more accessible. You can certainly drop in and just do a few 10 minutes here or there. But it's always clawing at you, and if you let it will consume you, and it will demand that you put in time every day, and you go to this place now, and you go to this place now. It will tell you what to do in quite extensive terms, I suppose, and it's up to you if you want to listen and pay any attention. And it can be quite easy to get sucked into that. I know, and to be honest, Neverwinter is essentially fantasy Star Trek Online. Yeah, they are by the same company, by the same publisher, and a huge number of the mechanics exist in both games. They one for one. You got companions and things, which are your bridge officers. You got your duty officers. Well, that's the profession crafting in there. Astral diamonds, dilithium. You can trace feature sets one to one. To be honest, and so if you don't like sci-fi, well, have a look at Neverwinter. It's the same game, but with Baldur's Gate trappings all over
and
it.
Tilly.
Yes, well, I didn't get Star Trek Online in the end, but I might yet. I'm still going through this flux phase of what the hell I'm going to be doing for the next couple of months. What else did I download and have a go at? There was EverQuest 1.
You really do hate yourself.
I think that's because I hate myself. Yeah, that's a kind of masochistic thing. My God, that is so slow. I tried to, just do a bit of combat in there, and it is literally it's about... Yeah, there's like a 4 or 5 second auto attack timer for your character in there. I had a level 30 character that I didn't dare touch because you have actual XP loss in EverQuest. You will literally lose time you have spent in that game if you die. So I thought, all right, let's fire up a newbie and have a go in there. Off to the Mines of Glooming Dark tutorial area again, and I'm standing there, and it is the worst case of marionettes standing next to each other miming with clocks cooling down, and you can forgive it. It's EverQuest. It's bloody 20 years old or whatever, and it shows, frankly. Yeah. I mean, they sort of tried to, refresh it by, working at the edges a little bit, resolution up a little bit, that kind of thing. The occasional little events. There's a hero's journey thing there now that tries to guide you through appropriate zones. It has maps it never had. Yeah, I've talked a lot about that on a previous, video thing on the channel somewhere. But yeah, I don't know. And I found myself sort of, almost nihilistically compelled to have a quick... I spent about 3 hours in there the other day, and I don't know why. I think probably because I hate myself. Yeah, it was a kind of masochistic self-harm.
3 hours. So what was the thing you achieved in it?
I got to level 5. Oh. In 3 hours. That's 3 hours in most MMOs will get you to 20 probably. Yeah. And I'm still in the tutorial, and I just don't have the energy to carry on anymore. And I remember EverQuest, and it is all rose-tinted hindsight. It is all, I remember travelling across these wide open world that was explorable, and you could find remote places and explore and see things, and but it's all rubbish now, seen with the eyes of 2018 or whatever. Yeah. It's low poly, the places are uninteresting, the zones are needlessly vast. In terms, and travel times are really slow, and combat is really slow, progression is really slow, and it purely exists because I think there is a generation of folks like me who have yet to snap. I don't know, perhaps that's doing EverQuest fans a huge disservice. I don't know, many people carry it still, there was like 3 or 4 people coming through the tutorial new creation, character creation area at the time. People were playing it. The numbers are there. Bizarre. I know, yeah, and all these games there were people, none of the ones I fired up and had a look were dead. I suppose if they're really dead they actually shut and disappear, but oh God, yeah. There was another one, but I'll let you talk for a bit because I've just been ranting.
Okay, I'm going to talk about something a bit more positive.
Go on then.
Kill Team.
Yeah, this isn't a computer game at all, is it? No, it's not a
computer game at all. It's the latest game from Games Workshop, which is a skirmish game for, I think it's between 3 and 20 people in a team.
Okay.
Not players, models.
Yeah.
So what happens is you make your little kill team.
Yeah.
Which may be 20 grots, or it may be 3 Grey Knights or something.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you play it and you go, oh, hang on, this isn't Necromunda, is it? And then you think, but they still sell Necromunda. Why is that then? They've got these two games which are almost the same, which are competing and don't know what's going on. And then you think, oh, they've released Kill Team once a year for the last how many years now? And it's been a different game
It did
every
sound
time.
familiar, yeah.
Yeah, but it's actually a really interesting little game because when it comes down to it, 40K's got a couple of issues. It costs far too much money.
Yeah.
Takes far too long to play.
Yeah.
And who's got time for that?
And it's got a vast number of models that you've got to try and paint and store and everything.
But with this, where what you'll do is you'll buy one box of minis probably. You'll put together a team based on that. You'll build some of the models, put together a team.
Yep.
Then you build them up how you want with the different loadouts you care about. Mm-hmm. Then you'll start playing a campaign, and some of them may get killed, and you might want to replace them with a different model, which you then build up from the rest of the bits in the kit.
Okay.
And as you go along through the campaign, they'll level up and get a bit better and get a bit more experienced, and you build a appreciation of these people as a person. Unless it's a gene stealer, then you don't just appreciate it's a gene stealer.
Okay.
And I quite like that idea rather than the whole
here's 300 orcs.
yeah,
Shove.
here's 300 orcs. Oh, that didn't work. That means I need some better guns, so I'm going to go out and buy a couple of these cannon things. Okay, I spent 80 quid on cannon things. Now I've got to build them and paint them, and oh look, I've got a bit more shooting now, but I don't have enough people, so maybe I need to yeah.
I've always resisted getting into it myself. I'm quite happy to, play against you with some of your armies and stuff, but it just never really seemed like an attractive proposition getting into 40k.
But yeah, Kill Team comes with two different little armies, which gives you the bits to make way more models than you need.
Yeah.
So you've got Gene Stealer cults, and you've got the AdMech. Yeah, who are the people from Mars.
Okay.
So you can start building up these things. You'll get loads of spare bits at the end. Because you've only got 10 people in your squad or whatever, you're building them up with a lot more thought towards them being a bit more characterful. And
yes, instead of just rows and rows of similar space troopers.
And they're all troops, so what you're doing is you're putting a lot more time and effort painting on your rank and file than you would do in the normal game.
Do you get like officers or commanders or anything?
Oh yeah, you get leaders and things, but it's just basically an upgrade for that person.
Right.
So it's all troop choices, and so you're not buying any individual people to use. You just buy a box and use that.
So what does moment-to-moment gameplay actually like? Is that very similar to 40k?
It's very much like 40k, yes.
So, rolling dice and measuring rulers and moving them about and shooting and so on.
In fact, it's just a modified version of 40k. But
so does this seem like it's an introductory sort of thing to get people in, or is it its own thing?
It exists as its own thing for a couple of reasons. One is competitive play.
Because I just sort of get this impression that Kill Team was just a sort of starter box for 40k.
No, it really is. Well, it is, but
it is its own game.
It's not so much a starter for getting into 40k. It's a starter to get you into buying for 40k. Because it's played on a board which is about.
Can't really see. Yeah,
doesn't work.
Yeah,
it's on the table in front of us, which is a reasonable size, which will fit on your coffee table.
It's about half a metre by about 75. 750.
And so it can be played in a lot more places.
You can fit it on a metre by metre table, basically. Yeah. Not the the usual 8x4 massive piece of chipboard you have to go and buy and then find somewhere to put.
The box set, if you want to go the box set route, you don't have to. Comes with enough scenery to fill one of these battle zones.
Okay, yeah.
Also, they sell individual ones, which I can talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
And so in the starter set for just shy of 100 of your Earth pounds, you get about 16 tons of plastic.
Okay.
Which has their new...
£100 is still sounding quite expensive.
It's still quite expensive, but you don't have to pay that. It's all you really need to play is the book.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, once you know the rules, you only really need one copy of the book between all your friends. And it then helps if you've got the cards, which are £10, which are just contain lists of all of the
that's what their abilities and things.
Yeah.
It seems very similar to that Shadespire thing, but
yes,
but sci-fi.
It exists. Well, it's not actually a card game. It basically just has you're not deck building, you just have lists of abilities you can use.
Okay.
So it's very much like Shadespire and fills the same point of Shadespire, which is, yes, you could have these. You can have a tournament of these set up very easily in not that much space, and the games play really fast. It's half hour or so to 45 minutes. So you can play it at lunchtime, which you just can't do with 40k unless you have a very, very, very understanding.
It does have the look and feel and scope of a more conventional sort of board game, like your Ticket to Rides or Catan or whatever. It's some, that kind of format. Whereas a proper game of like 2,000 points per side Warhammer 40k is not a casual proposition. No. It's a 4 or 5 hour job, and you need a whole room set aside for it.
And they sell different battle zones, so you get a new card map to play on, and different sets of scenery. So there's one which is basically the docks area or a warehouse area, which is full of the containers.
It seems like a much more reasonable proposition than anything that they tried to do in the past.
But of course, what happens is after you've got a couple of those, you realise you've got enough scenery there for a full 40k table if you wanted, and then you can just put it onto a normal size table.
I suppose the fact that it acts as a gateway drug is a bonus as well, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, this is the sort of thing because I keep saying whenever we talk about these war games, I liked Man of War, which was essentially all that Uncharted Seas thing, which wasn't Games Workshop. The idea that you would have a handful of units and that you have to work with those, you have to really learn them, you have to apply them cleverly and carefully, not just using the old sort of shovel to push whole loads of expensive plastic across the board and just hope for the best with like massive load of dice rolls. There's more control, more finesse to a tactical game rather than large scale 40k, which turns into this big strategic, we'll just roll 1 million dice and hope some of them land.
Yeah, and I always like the way it's more narrative, because that gives you, when stuff goes wrong, like you roll really badly.
Yeah.
It matters.
Individual soldiers dying matters.
Yeah, it turns into more of a story.
Like scrape them off, it's like some ghastly First World War type analogue.
Odds are when Trooper Dave dies, he's going to be replaced by Trooper Steve, who looks just like Trooper Dave.
Not necessarily. If you've only got a small number of models, then you can start to look at customising them, making them look individual, painting them specially.
Yeah.
Rather than just, daub across.
I like the idea of a shelf full of the dead models.
Each one has its own memorial and service. That'd be nice, yeah.
Just full of grots.
So what have we got there then to begin with? They got all the different sides?
Yeah, nearly,
different
nearly
enemies,
all of the
armies.
The rulebook has the rules for all of the armies.
You got your ultramarines like usual with you?
You've got Marines, Chaos.
You can just paint them up in whatever chapter you like, I suppose.
There's no chapter specifics.
Okay, that's good.
There's Orcs. There's everyone in there apart from the Chaos Demons for some reason.
Okay.
And Custodies, because they're just a bit too elite.
So presumably you can pick your favourite side and buy a small pack of models, get your team ready.
Or you can buy the starter for that, which comes with a bit of scenery, a couple of special ability cards for that particular army, and some counters and things. And you save money on buying all the bits separately, but whether or not you would actually care about that, I don't know.
I'd quite like to get into painting miniatures again. I used to do some of that.
Yeah, you do.
That was another thing that wasn't a computer game.
Yeah, I find it very relaxing. It's a lot.
Yeah. Just switch off, listen to some music or a podcast or whatever, and just dabbing away.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Yeah, I was painting.
Yeah, maybe I should do more of that. Yeah,
we should build a kill team.
There we go.
Yeah, we have a campaign.
So I continue my rant.
Go on then. No, I haven't talked about the building.
Talk about the buildings.
They've done new building designs.
He's got one, look.
I got a bit of one.
Can't see that.
But if you see,
it's always shattered cathedrals, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
where's the planet where they, have got design principles from this century, let alone the 41st millennium or whatever?
Yeah. Well,
anyway, lots of smashed up Gothic cathedral bits there.
But it's very, very cleverly designed and goes together really interestingly, and not just on 90-degree walls.
Yeah.
There. Anyway.
But then I suppose you don't want anything too elaborate because you still have to get miniatures in amongst them for playing a board game.
You can make a fully intact building, but then you
can't get into it to put the miniatures anywhere for the actual game. Yeah.
It turns out ruins are a lot more useful for a game.
Yeah, fair enough.
All you're after really,
and it fits the
line of
milieu.
sight breaking cover.
Well, it's a universe shattered by war. Yeah, ruins is mostly the thing. Cool. Talking of universes shattered by war.
Okay.
Eve. I'm playing
yeah.
Eve again. So yeah, that was the other thing I downloaded in my big flurry of all the MMOs ever, which I've not finished yet. I've got a whole load more to download and try as well. I'm going to try and break my download cap this month, because that doesn't really happen to me normally. But yes, Eve Online, I thought, oh yeah, I used to do that. So I thought I'll download that and have a look. I mean, I'd always developed this kind of aversion, I don't know, fear perhaps, I don't know, some reluctance to want to play Eve again. That sort of increased the longer I hadn't played it. I played it quite a lot in the past. My main character has a birth date of 2003. My character in Eve is 15 years old.
Yeah.
I know, insanity. I can't remember. I think I left it training Battleships 5 on Galente or something, so that's done, so that's useful. So I fired it all up. I'm an alpha clone. I'm not paying anything because Eve is free to play nowadays. Make of that what you will. So nowadays you got this alpha clone thing and this Omega clone. Omega clone is what we used to call a subscriber. And the alpha clone you can play for free, and that includes all of your old characters as well. If you just stopped subscribing, you don't not get access to them and have to start some new fresh things. You can play your old characters. It locks off all your skills over a certain length. I mean, so the restrictions on alphas, I think it's 5 million skill points in total, at which point you can't add anything new to the skill queue. My character's got 44 million skill points.
Yours were a slacker.
I know, I was such a casual. But it doesn't. It still lets you play those, although it's sort of. And then it basically blocks out like quite a lot of Tech 2 skills, quite a lot of rank 5s in things, but a lot of the rest of the skills are still there. From what I can see with the Alpha Clone, I think when it started, I think you were locked to your own race's ships and you couldn't do more than cruisers. And I think they've progressively added more and more to that because that was quite punitive. And now. There's only a few things I could do as an Omega that I can't do as an Alpha now because I was a bit of a slacker. Yeah, so I think the cloaking device is the thing I miss the most. You can't do cloaking as an Alpha. That's probably to stop many thousands of alts spying or whatever. I don't know. Some of the Tech 2 ships I used to fly, I was only just getting into those. There was a logistics ship and some scouty thing as well. I don't know. So some of the Tech 2 equipment, some of the high-end guns and stuff. I think small and medium turrets Tech 2 you can use as an alpha. So yeah, I can still. Looking at what's there, I could probably still pull off Agent 4 missions, PvE Agent 4 missions as an alpha clone in a battleship. You can fly up to battleships and down. All Tech 1 ships seem to be available, apart from some of the more elaborate mining barges, I think. So it's a really generous deal. And to be honest, I can't imagine for starters, I'm having to trouble anyway coming up with any kind of motivation of what I'm going to do in Eve. I'm enjoying looking around and seeing how it's changed at the moment, and I'm just putzing about because again it's another game where I don't want to jump straight back in where I left off because I've no idea how any of it works, and Eve's another game where you have consequences for getting it wrong, quite severe ones. So I've dig out some alts. I digged out my main character, but I'm doing Agent 1 missions in a training system. It's like 15-year-old character with like all the corporate history listed, and I'm just putzing around doing Agent 1 missions in Kestrels and stuff. I like the Kestrel, I missed that. So yeah, I'm just looking at the UI. Everything's changed. All the models have been updated. They're much more shiny and angular and defined and sharp nowadays.
Symmetrical.
A lot of symmetrical Caldari ships. When did that happen? I approve, frankly. That put me off a lot of Caldari ships, to be honest. They were so lopsided. The backdrops have all been updated. There's new starfields. Most of the UI's new. I mean, pretty much everything's new. I think the engine underneath it all might still be the same, but the basic gameplay seems largely the same. You fly around working out what to do with yourself, failing to come up with anything and doing Agent 1 missions. I know I could immediately go and sign up with some massive 0.0 corporation and join big wars and stuff, or become some edgy elite low-sec solo PvPist or something, but who's got that kind of time? So I don't know what I'm doing with it. So I think Nixoy was trying it out for the first time, and I was on Mumble helping him out and stuff. It's fascinating because I sort of basically remembered more or less how it all worked, but I still ended up doing some of the tutorial missions anyway. They've got this opportunities grid now, which just functions as a kind of, hey, new guy, try this and this and this, and it pays you money as you do these things and tick these things off a list. It doesn't go very far, but it gets you to try one of each thing. But yeah, I just listening to Nixoy, who'd never played it before, trying to come to terms and get to grips with it. It is a really impenetrable game. I mean, he's not stupid. He knows games. He plays stuff. He's a technical and educated chap. But just listening to an utterly brand new player trying to work out what the hell's going on with any of it, I don't think they've still not cracked their new player experience problem. They keep redesigning it, and I don't think they really care, to be honest, either. Most of the players who play it have played it for a long time and are happy with how it all is.
I never understood the stability of their numbers, because they must have churn.
Right, well, so I did a bit of hunting around of numbers because I'm quite curious on this sort of thing. So when I've been logging in, a couple of evenings a week and at weekends, there's been about 25,000 players online. It tells you on the top of the launcher.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's up or down. I remember it being higher, but not a lot higher.
37, 42,
yeah,
those are the
40s
highs
or something. So it's down a lot on what it was. But of course, with alphas, they all count too.
Yeah.
So does that number even mean anything at all? And of course, I think I was probably the only person I ever knew who played EVE with just one account.
Yeah.
Everyone's got at least 2 or 3 on there, a cargo hauling alt for the mining or whatever. I mean, some people have fleets of Drakes all commanding multi-boxed and so on. The launcher supports multi-boxing as well. The EVE launcher lets you attach multiple accounts and fire them up all at once. It's like they know and they've designed around people. It's just not...
Oh, you want to pay us twice as much?
Yeah, well, I suppose you could do it as alphas as well, but it's just ridiculous that it's a game that's is intended to be played on multiple accounts. People who are just soloing with one account are clearly doing it wrong. I don't know. Well, whatever. So there's that big URAX3 something war going on. There's a big Goons Imperium pandemic type. I don't know. Names. There's a massive war with around 4,000 players in one system going on at the moment, and it's hitting some of the MMO headlines, and that's fascinating. But me playing the game is absolutely no. I could be just reading about it and still know just as much. So you see almost nothing of that as a new player just putzing around as an alpha clone. It's utterly irrelevant. I don't know. I mean, perhaps there's some naught corporations that take alpha clones as cannon fodder. I don't know. I always had trouble motivating myself in that game. I relatively early on got to the point where I had enough money to replace the ships I was flying comfortably. I have about 800 million ISK.
Yeah,
which is nothing really, but is more than suits my needs. So that's 8 battleship replacements, and I don't even fly battleships these days. I'm flying Kestrels. It's an infinite amount of Kestrels, frankly. But I can see myself just bouncing off it because I just lack any kind of... It's a sandbox. You're supposed to make your own entertainment, and I just don't seem to be able to do that, really. How much was Plex's back in the day? Do you remember?
Can't remember.
300 million? 100 million?
Something like that.
They are now 1.4 billion.
Oh,
with a B, yeah.
Inflation much?
Yeah, a little bit. And also the Plex is now not the Plex, because remember they had that Aurum thing when they did the captain's quarters is gone. I never even saw that. The first thing I did when I logged in was I had to create a person for no obvious reason. You can use it to take a photo of your little portrait, and that's about it now, I think. You can still earn leather jackets and things from faction loyalty point stores. But yeah, the Aurum currency they used that you could buy your monocle with, and Monocle Gate and all that nonsense. I think they've rolled that into Plex. A Plex is now not a thing, it is a currency.
Yeah.
And you need 500 Plex to buy 30 days of game time.
Okay.
And 500 Plex will cost you about 1.4 billion ISK in game.
Yeah.
So you need to...
And you can still buy the Plex separately and sell them in game.
Yeah, you can buy as many Plexes as you like from the store. So so you need 500 Plex to buy 30 days of game time, and you can... I think the one I clicked on and saw was 110 Plex for £4.24 of your Earth pounds. So I think it's obviously perhaps you get a better deal with higher number of Plex bought at once. So I suppose if you buy 500 at once, it'll cost you about 15 quid, I think, probably. So it's 15 to 20 quid, somewhere around there. I mean, coming up with one of these little currencies detaches you away from the subscription fee. Well, no one could ever put their subscription fee above $15 a month without the whole internet going nuts. So let's hide it behind a currency, whatever. That will buy you Omega time, 30 days of being an Omega, which means you can then train stuff and fly the Tech 2 stuffs and whatever. Obviously you can buy Plexes and sell them in game to people. So I don't know. It's just sort of really irrelevant. I don't see any need to be an Omega at all with my current level of interest and aspiration in that game. It's fun. I quite like flying around and just blowing up little Garista pirates in Agent 1 missions. I quite might work my way up to Agent 2s in a frigate.
Steady now.
I know, maybe, but I don't know. It's it's all just going on, and it's its own thing, and it doesn't care if I'm there or not, really. And that's always been Eve. Eve doesn't care about you. It's just fine.
Yeah, does it let you into battle?
You
cruisers?
can have battle cruisers.
Then
yeah,
that's all you need.
Well, battleships as well for Agent 4 missions, maybe. But I mean, some of the more higher end 5 skills become useful at Agent 4, so perhaps it becomes a bit challenging doing those in an alpha. But I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm earning like 100,000 credits a mission for Agent 1 stuff here and there. I don't know what to make of the whole Plex market in there. The 1.4 billion. That's about 7 or 8 times what it used to be back when we were last playing. And I just imagine that's driven by vast demand and not so much supply. There's less people actually paying CCB anything, and loads more people wanting to play for free, which basically means grinding out 1.4 billion ISK every month.
And if that's easy to do, then
I think it is if you're right at the top with your fleets of carriers ratting deep naught officer spawns or whatever. But
from an economic point of view, that the price would rise up to what the comfortable monthly is.
It's all market driven. It will gravitate to what people can pay, or will pay.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I like the look and the look and feel of it. Was always fantastic. It was a good looking game. It was an excellent sort of stylistic thing. Although everyone looks very grimdark in their little portraits. Yeah, and I find myself drawing comparisons with things like Elite Dangerous and so on. I mean, it's your menu flying. They've added some weird first person mode to your ships. I don't really. You can look at it's essentially first person. You can use the arrow keys to steer your ship, which is not really useful in an XVT Elite Dangerous style of thing. I don't imagine many people really use that in anger. Perhaps interceptor pilots might find it slightly useful, but you can always just double click on the backdrop and make your ship fly in that direction anyway. I mean, the fitting game and the tinkering with modules and stuff, that's still quite fun and satisfying, and I can but yeah, I sort of looked at the big star map and I clicked onto systems I visited, and it still remembered all the ones I'd gone before, and I only visited about 30% of the entire game, and there was nothing distinguishing in any of those places anyway. So they got this new agency window that seems to be like an agent finder. It's it sort of collates different activities for you to find to go and do, but the nature of the activities themselves seemed largely to be, here is an Agent 1 that does combat, here's an Agent 2 that does mining and distribution, that sort of thing. It points out some of the story arc chains. I might have a go at those. That might be an objective, might be a thing to do. There's a Sisters of Eve epic set of missions that you can work your way through. It's the nearest analogue the game has to any kind of PvE normal MMO storyline type thing. I might have a look at some of those before I burn out, but I don't know what to do. I don't really know why I'm there, really. I mean, it's nice to see the game move on, but I wonder if it's really relevant to me anymore. I think perhaps I've changed. I don't know. But then I think I never got Eve properly back in the day. I was always a Care Bear levelling my Raven, I never got involved in all the stuff. I went on that Rome for that podcast that we did way back then, but that was quite interesting, but I couldn't do that every night. I mean, who's got the time? Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm tinkering with it. Perhaps it will grab me. Perhaps I'll find some motivation. Perhaps I'll carry on playing and talking about it more in here. But at the moment, it's I remember all this. It's a thing more or less nostalgia and reminiscence. It's like driving back to a town you grew up in, like 20 years later, and looking around and seeing all the new houses and stuff. You're not going to get immediately jump back into life in that town again. You've got your life somewhere else now. But it's nice to look back and see how things have changed from the days you remember. And it's such a long time. 15-year-old character. That's sort of rivaling some of my EverQuest characters and things as well. EverQuest 1,
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. It's a fine game. People like it for what it is, I'm sure, but I don't know if it's got anything for me, really. I'll keep tinkering around with it.
Not sure it ever has had anything for you.
No, perhaps. I mean, I like a good space game, but I don't know that sandbox is quite what I'm after. I don't know. Maybe Star Citizen will be the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Look to see how much it costs to be able to mine in that game.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm currently playing Eve. Make of that what you will.
Well, I'm going to talk about a space sandbox game.
Okay.
I looked at the updated No Man's Sky.
Oh, okay. Yes, a game with a troubled past.
Yeah, it's a game which has issues with hype. and people getting overly carried away, and maybe people promising too much, and maybe PR people not saying, steady now, pull it back a bit.
Yeah.
Don't promise stuff that's not going to be released.
It's a lesson in the perils of enthusiasm from all quarters.
I've thought about this a lot. I think that it was the studio and the people behind it were all attacked because I think in part of the way that Peter Molyneux was handled by various people in the press. The idea they're lying and saying that a feature is coming when it isn't is so wrong that...
so wrong we must destroy them with death threats.
Must be hounded out of the industry.
Let's make sure they never work in any form, shape or of employment.
And the problem is, the people who do that are the people who... Some of them who do seem to believe that they are on the side of good in the world, and no, you a little bit disconnect there. What you're doing is,
what you're doing is ensuring that no one will ever provide you with gaming entertainment again.
Yeah.
You know, they say you shouldn't crap where you eat, you know. How about we just give game developers the benefit of the doubt and we just turn away and get on with our lives if they produce something that's not very good?
Yeah.
That way, other game developers will look at the whole thing and go, oh, I might actually have a go at developing a game, rather than, oh, bloody hell, I'm not going into that. I'm going to go into insurance back-end database systems where no one ever threatens you with death and where you get more money and better hours.
Yeah.
So,
and you don't get shut down randomly because you're
there you go, people.
Yourself.
Just, you know, have a bit of forethought before you launch onto that forum with a tirade, you know.
Anyway, I'm going to have a tirade about this game. No, actually, I'm not. I quite liked the original, but found it to be a little too aimless. And the changes they've made have not really allayed these fears. You have to spend a bit too much time gathering, and I found myself stuck on a planet on a lifeless rock doing a important mission as part of the tutorial, because it's all procedurally generated. These planets are somewhat random, and so I found myself on a planet where I needed carbon, and there was hardly any carbon on this planet.
Oh well, try again, restart, new game.
So I was having to get the tiny amount that was available and the one resource I could find, and so having to spend ages mining that and thinking, this is just basically make busy work. And
well, ultimately that's what computer games are. But,
who has time for that?
But you need to. Who has time for that? Yeah.
It's a bit too much like make busy work. I'm spending far too much time.
Too transparent.
I was spending far too much time doing things and not enough time getting things done. And there's no promise of or actual reality thing at the end of it all, which makes it worthwhile. So it just turns into this open-ended nothingness of, I will mine these two resources so I can make the thing which enables my ship to have enough fuel to be able to take off, and I'll fly over here, which you have used up a bit of that fuel, so I can only do that a couple more times before I have to build this again, so I better start gathering those bits again now. And while I'm over here,
managing hunger bars, basically.
And I find that increasingly tedious. It doesn't feel like it's respecting my time. And it's just so greedy with the amount of time it wants me to give it.
What's the story it's trying to tell, or is there one?
You wake up, you are...
I mean that figuratively, you know. I mean, do you feel like it's something you want to experience? You're keen to find out more, driven to continue onwards, or is it just here's a galaxy? Just
the story is you wake up with no memory of who you are.
Yes,
near a ship.
That happens a lot.
And then you have to follow clues and do instructions to find out what's actually going on. And then when you do find out what's going on, it is very, very disappointing, unless they've changed it in the patch, which I don't think they have.
So I think I heard that the patch is adding multiplayer.
Yeah, 4-player multiplayer. And not a lot to do on it. You can do missions together.
I mean, yeah. So, I mean, something like Minecraft doesn't really have a story either, but is essentially a very large canvas for you to add your own expression.
This has building. This has...
Can you express yourself and just go mad and build crazy star bases or whatever?
You can make crazy bases on the planets, but... the building's basically... You played,
not enough of a
sandbox. Did you play Ark?
No. No.
Okay, you played...
I could take or leave dinosaurs,
you played
to be honest.
You played a bit of Fortnite, didn't you? The building,
very
the building's
brief
very
build.
much like that, where you put down a base, then you put down a wall, and it'll snap against it.
Okay.
And then you put a ceiling on it, and you got a little room, and then you need to go dig up these things underground and put them in a machine, and then you can spend what you get from that on getting new blueprints.
Okay.
And that'll mean you could then get a round room or a room with a window. And
It sounds like Planet Explorers or space engineers a bit.
yeah, they put all this effort in and made it more, but they haven't actually put much more in from interesting things to do. So I've been playing a bit. I've been really enjoying the atmosphere.
Because everyone loves procedural and the art of someone being specifically paid to sit down and write a 20-hour story of narrative, people and drama and events. The problem with that is that people will only play 20 hours. Well, yeah.
And you can't have that.
It's like we've sort of fallen out of love of the idea of the single-player story campaign anymore. It's all well, here's a sandbox, make your own entertainment. And I think we're increasingly finding that as a generation we're a bit barren when it comes to making our own entertainment. I don't know, maybe I'm just speaking for myself these days, but
yeah. So generally,
is it a good time to jump in? Because I've been umming and ahhing about No Man's Sky, but generally when I see lots of reviews.
It's still too expensive for what it is. You'll have fun for a while, but it's just missing.
Maybe when I run out of everything else.
Yeah, it's just missing too much, and it does feel like it's just making me wait rather than giving me gameplay.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just not enough to do in it still. And I understand that that's what the game is, and the game doesn't set out to say it's going to give you something to do. I'm just finding it increasingly frustrating because of that.
Yeah. Dear.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. There are some games I am enjoying.
Okay.
Just to try and end this show on a something of a high. I'm enjoying Warframe. It's going from strength to strength. I just love the rinse and repeat of that. The basic gameplay is really good. I'm enjoying Factorio, the server we got going there. We're quite close to launching rockets into space. I think an end might be in sight.
I hear you got nuked.
I got nuked, yes. The live test firing of the first atomic warhead went pretty much as I expected it would, as I would expect it would. I was caught in the blast, yes. I kind of ran towards it instead of when everyone else was running away. I didn't realise it was going to be quite so... Yeah.
Nuke.
Yeah. Yeah, it does a good number on biter nests, though, so, my sacrifice wasn't in vain, and I respawned and got my stuff back, only slightly radioactive. I'm sort of enjoying Lord of the Rings Online, although there is a lot of padding and filler and tedium in there. We've just gone through a place called the Pit of Iron, which was an entirely unnecessary side zone that just full of really dull kill quests in a big cave. But yes, we've got to the bit of Rohan where we've been captured and come out of Isengard, and then Theodred has tried to attack Isengard and been driven away and been killed. Spoilers. I think we're about that far away from being recalled back to Lothlorien and now starting down the Great River, which is basically the high water mark of my previous ever time in that game. So I'll be starting to see new stuff. Although I've been told to really manage my expectations when it comes to Rohan. Mounted combat all steady now, and apparently there's a lot of Rohirrim for hill forts with log palisades around to come before we get down to Mount Doom and stuff.
Yeah.
So grit teeth and head down, keep going. It is very much like Frodo and Sam's painful journey to the volcano, but in other ways. But yeah, so I'm enjoying the anticipation of ticking that off. But the moment to moment can be a bit sometimes. And what else am I enjoying? I must be enjoying something else. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen is still fantastic. I'm still playing my way through that, pottering and pressing on the story in equal measure. I like that a lot. So, there is games I like. I just have to keep trying them all until I find another one I like. That's basically the idea. So probably a lot more download and play 1 hour of MMOs coming up for the rest of them. I think I recently tried Age of Conan and recently tried Anarchy Online. So, and we've just bounced off Secret World Legends as well. So the field's narrowing. I mean, I'm tempted to have a look at Elder Scrolls Online, but it's the box cost, and I'm not sure I can be bothered. I mean, who has 40 quid for that?
Has that gone away now?
No, I think you still have to buy the basic box. It's free to play once you're in. It's a buy once.
I've got it.
Phlegm model, I believe.
I've got to swap my Xbox Games Pass subscription, which I should probably
maybe it'll be on some deal or something, and I'll have a look. But yeah, anyway, so not all is lost, but it's a bit of a doldrum. Maybe it's a summer thing. Maybe it's I'm just enjoying outdoors. I'll talk about Ben Nevis probably on a future show.
I recommend you go climb a mountain.
I'm going to go climb Ben Nevis. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah. So what did you learn this week?
I learnt that writing a driving model for a game is far harder than it looks, and I thought it was really hard to start with.
Okay. I learned that Baby Driver is not as good as Hot Fuzz. That's what I learned.
Did you find that Baby Driver lacked any real substance?
Well, there was the sort of girl meets boy, boy meets girl. Boy tries to wrangle his way out of a life of crime, and he's quite good at driving. And there's a backstory about how he likes music a lot. That I just didn't really find any of the characters particularly likable or sympathetic.
Did you find the lack of any repercussions at the end somewhat?
He went to prison at the end and then came out straight away in a sort of montage.
He didn't feel like. Yeah.
There was no real heroism. Everyone died more or less, and all spoilers. And it just wasn't as. I was expecting something not quite Hot Fuzz. Clearly, it was obviously a bit more serious, but a bit more lively and a bit more of a romp. And it was just a bit.
Had no soundtrack though.
Yeah, well, yeah, but just such unlikable characters all the way through it, which you don't expect from an Edgar Wright thing. So there you go. Watch Hot Fuzz again.
Always watch Hot Fuzz.
Do you spill?
Go along to howtomurdertime.com to find our previous episodes. Go on to YouTube to find all the videos. Subscribe, like, whatever. Yeah.
Whatever.
Whatever.
See you next time.
Maybe.